Hi, this is Alicia Lamb completing my final project for my master's in administration. I am really excited to go through this last semester and move on to my next journey. So, some personal background information about me. I'm originally from Great Bend, Kansas. I grew up there my entire life and graduated and went to Washburn University. I will get more into that on the educational background side, but I have been working for the Auburn-Washburn District for about 10 years now, and majority of my career has been spent at Wanamaker Elementary as a special education teacher for grades 4 through 6. Prior to that, I worked at a PRTF for children ages 6 through 21, and while I was there, I was a paraeducator. Loved my job there and the people that I worked with, but when I decided to get my master's in special education, I had to get a job as a teacher in a building and work on a provisional license. My husband and I have been married for 8 years, and we have 3 daughters, ages 7, 4, and 2, and we are expecting our 4th child in April. Both of us come from pretty big families, so we always knew we were going to have a big family. We're really excited, a little bit nervous about all the chaos that it's going to bring, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun growing up. What might be a little bit crazy is that I am scheduled to go in on April 14th, and I am presenting this portfolio on April 22nd, I believe. So that could be interesting, but that's kind of how my world works. So in my educational background, at Washburn University, I first went there to be pre-law. I wanted to be an attorney and work as a child advocate. So I went into political science. About halfway through my journey there, I decided I didn't want to go to law school anymore. And so I got a secondary degree in communication with a corporate emphasis because I really wanted to work for corporations and planning events. That did not pan out. So I got a job working for the state in the Kansas Department of Healing Arts, where I worked with medical investigators in inspecting offices and data collection. While I was there, I sat in an office in a cubicle and I hated it. So I decided to go back to school at Washburn, and I earned a degree in secondary education with an emphasis in history. And so I have a bachelor's in political science, communication, and history. Apparently, I am a school junkie. Unfortunately, when I graduated, there were layoffs across the state for educators, and I couldn't get a job as a history teacher. There just weren't any available within the Topeka area. And so that's when I became a paraeducator in Auburn-Washburn, and working at the PRTF, I just fell in love with special education. I loved the challenge of it. I loved being able to see students who had disabilities and really struggled with school and even hated it, persevere and really make some growth. And so I applied at KU and earned my master's in adaptive special education. So been doing it 8 years. Still love what I do. The challenge is getting harder, but I feel like I've become better at my career, and I have learned so much. So couple years ago, one of my coworkers and I were talking, and she was finishing up her degree, and she's like, you really need to do it. And so I decided to apply for my master's in educational administration from Fort Hays. Personal goals. This is kind of out there, but my personal goals are kind of all over the place. I set more short-term goals. 1 to 5 years is a very lengthy goal for me. Most of my goals are by a monthly basis, sometimes a year. So this was hard. The next 1 to 5 years is just surviving motherhood. Gonna have 4 kids under 7, and I work full time, and we are very, very busy people. We travel back home a lot. My husband's family is in Garden City and mine is in Great Bend, and so we're on the road at least once a month. It's just, I think survival is going to be my goal for the next 5 years. Also, I like learning about woodwork. I come from a family of carpenters. It's my grandpa's trade. My dad works in IT, but he does carpentry as a hobby. My brother does it, and I've always had an interest in it, so it's something I want to continue my skills in. I have very, very basic skills, not great, but I am learning. We also bought a house a couple years ago, and it needs a lot of remodeling. And one of my favorite things to do in life is to tear things down and put them back together. I like to stay busy that way, so I need to continue working on remodeling skills. My current nemesis is sheetrocking and learning how to mud over seams and sand them smooth. That is something I'm not great at, but I'm working on it. In the next 5 to 10 years, I just want to travel outside of the country at least once and go to Disneyland with my family. I'd really like to go to Ireland and maybe take my husband to England so he can see some of the things I saw. And I want to discover a hobby that makes money. Remodeling's not going to be that because I'm not great at it, but maybe I'll find something else that I enjoy doing and it doesn't seem like a job for me. 10 years and beyond, I just want to watch my family grow up. I want to see my kids be successful in life. I want to watch them raise their families of their own. I want to travel and retire and have a successful career and just live life. Those are my goals, is just to live life and be grateful for what I have. So for my professional goals are quite a bit different. I last year was certified as a dyslexia practitioner through Wilson Reading in the first 4 steps. You can continue on. There are 12 steps in Wilson Reading, and I would like to get to the end of it and be able to maybe teach adults how to read that are dyslexic, or even people who are non-English speaking. And I think that it's a long road. It takes years to be able to do that. So in the next 5 years, I would like to complete those certifications. I also need to seek more leadership opportunities within my community and district, finding some volunteer opportunities where I can, where I can have more of a leadership role and get my family involved. I am a part of a Panhellenic group through my sorority I was in college, but I need a little bit more. I also need to work on finding some things to do within the district. One opportunity that did present itself to me was working with our Department of Instruction, where I can work with 2 of the people in developing some of the curriculum and looking at the materials. I also want to train paraeducators and general educators on general education teachers, on proper intervention methods. I think they get overwhelmed very easily, and I often hear there's not enough time or they don't feel like they've been trained properly. And for special education students to be successful, everybody needs to be receiving the same type of knowledge that they can apply in the classroom. 5 to 10 years, I am going to seek employment as elementary administrator. I'm not going to do that until all four of my kids are in school. I think it would be a little much. Right now, that seems very overwhelming to me, but 5 to 10 years is a good goal for me to have to become an elementary administrator. 10 years and beyond, I don't really know. I think I will really enjoy being an elementary administrator. If not, I would like to move up to the district level as an instructional facilitator for the interventionists and work with Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventionists, doing some research on the quality of reading instruction and math instruction for students that struggle and being able to implement that within the district. So, kind of a little over the place, but I think it's a good path for me to be successful. And last slide is, why did I choose FHSU? I chose since I'm from Western Kansas. Fort Hays is literally an hour from the town I grew up in, so I always knew its reputation. Growing up, I knew it was a good school. Not one that I chose to go to for my undergraduate, but it always had a good reputation. That being said, when I looked for my master's program, I thought that KU offered the best option for working adults and the best price for the cost of education. They were by far the cheapest. But when I looked at the courses, I was excited to see that they were 8-week tracks and that I could take one class at a time and not feel so overwhelmed. I was also excited to see that some of the courses that I had an interest in, especially educational law, special education, and doing cultural diversity, are things that we need every day. So they were things that were going to further my career now and in the future. A couple of classes that kind of freaked me out were finances. I didn't know what to expect with that one, but I do have a much better idea of what educational finance is and how I'm going to be able to apply these different things as an administrator and into my current job. I am leaving this program very well informed and have a greater understanding of administration and the operations of a school district. So thank you for your time. And I am excited to keep this semester rolling and see what we have to offer.